You're watching WKYT News at noon.
And WKYT News at 12:30. Barbara Bailey and Bill Bryant reporting city officials and the heads of law enforcement agencies have gathered in Lexington today for a panel discussion.
And the topic is public safety, set against the backdrop of a recent rash of shootings. WKYT's Michelle Chamberlain has more details as she joins us now with our top story at 12:30. Michelle?
The public safety discussion today here at the Hyatt is obviously timely considering the recent shootings here in Lexington. The panel says crime in Lexington is up 5% from last year, and that's why they're having today's discussion, because they believe the key factor to keeping Lexington safe is communication.
Today's conversation regarding public safety covered many issues, including recent shootings in Lexington. The high-profile murders of Mariah Coleman and 15-year-old Trinity Gay have sparked concerns about public safety. There have been more than 20 homicides in Lexington so far this year. That's more than all of last year. Police Chief Mark Barnard says while crime is up 5% in Lexington from last year, he adds that the city continues to see growth in population. He wants to ensure people they have nothing to fear. He says a majority of the crime increase involves property crime, and a bulk of those include car thefts.
Over 42% of the vehicles that are stolen have the keys left in, which is enabling crime. So I think when people become responsible and understand how they can help us solve crimes or help be involved in crime solving, it makes us a better community.
The panel agreed there are more challenges the city faces, such as gang issues, drugs, and race relations. They want to assure the public that they work together on these issues to try and find solutions to keep Lexington as safe as possible. In Lexington, Michelle Chamberlain, WKYT.
And the heroin epidemic was also a topic today. Chief Chilton said there was an average of 100 Narcan doses administered each month last year. This year, that monthly average is up to 150 doses. We have more info on today's panel discussion at WKYT.com. A Clark County grand jury indicted an elderly man who was involved in a deadly crash back in June. Police had said that James Pelfrey was blinded by bright lights when he crashed into two cars waiting at a red light at the intersection of Winchester's Bypass and Colby Road. Two women died in that crash, and a third woman was taken to the hospital. And now, more than 4 months later, Pelfrey is in jail, facing 2 counts of second-degree manslaughter and 1 count of second-degree assault.
One of the suspects charged in connection to the shooting death of Trinity Gay will appear in district court for a second time this week. Devontae Middlebrooks will go before a judge this afternoon for a probation hearing. Middlebrooks was convicted twice in 2015 for cocaine trafficking and other drug charges. In the Trinity Gay case, he's been charged with wanton endangerment and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Firefighters in Powell County say a family is safe after their home was destroyed by a large fire. The fire started around 5 o'clock this morning at a home on 5th Avenue in Clay City. Neighbors tell us a man and his pregnant girlfriend were currently renting the house. Crews say the couple lost everything in the fire. Fire officials initially had a difficult time getting the fire under control because of a lack of first responders. We're told that crews from Winchester and Mount Sterling were called to help put out the fire. At this time, the cause of the fire has not been determined.
The NTSB is investigating this afternoon what caused a plane carrying Republican vice presidential nominee Mike Pence to skid off of the runway at New York's LaGuardia Airport. The accident happened last night as the aircraft was landing in heavy rain. Port Authority officials say the aircraft overshot the runway after a hard landing. Everyone on board, including Governor Pence, his family, and more than 30 others, escaped unharmed. Officials say arrestor beds at the end of the runway slowed the plane down and may have saved lives. The man who vandalized Donald Trump's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame has been released from jail, and he says he's not sorry for what he did. James Otis, the heir to the Otis elevator, and Listerine fortunes as well, was caught on video destroying the star. Police arrested Otis on a charge of felony vandalism. He says he wanted to auction off the brass pieces and donate the money to the women accusing Trump of sexual misconduct. He said he was upset, angry, and frustrated with Trump. Otis has been ordered to return the damaged pieces from the star to the Walk of Fame. All right, kids look forward to trick or treat every year, and the big weekend is here.
But nearly 2 children in every classroom have food allergies, leaving millions of children unable to eat the candy they pick up on Halloween. A growing campaign is trying to change that and raise awareness.
And Kenneth Craig has more on that.
Lucas Mazer is a happy, healthy 6-year-old who loves sweets.
Mom, I love Dove.
And snacking. So naturally, trick-or-treating would seem like a perfect fit. But until recently, Lucas's severe allergy to peanuts and tree nuts turned Halloween into a drag.
Because your friends can have all these great treats and you have a nut allergy, so you can't eat all that stuff.
But this year, Lucas couldn't wait to put on his costume and show us this teal pumpkin on his front step.
Stickers, buttons.
For trick-or-treaters with food allergies, it's a signal that a home is handing out non-food treats. It's part of an inclusion and awareness campaign by the group Food Allergy Research and Education called the Teal Pumpkin Project, now in its 3rd year.
With 1 in 13 kids having food allergies in the U.S., chances are that one of these kids lives right down your block.
The number of homes participating in the Teal Pumpkin Project is growing. The group behind it says their ultimate goal is to have one of these teal pumpkins on every block in America.
I think it would be incredible if it can happen.
Lucas's mother says their home is the first on the street to embrace the teal pumpkin, but she and Lucas are hopeful it won't stop there.
It makes me happy that people do it, so I can be included with Halloween.
Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Hartsdale, New York.
Now, the Teal Pumpkin Project has an interactive map online where families can track participating homes. Last year, homes from all 50 states and 14 countries joined in. Eventually, probably everybody will.
Yeah, it's growing, no doubt. Well, we have this now. Here we go with a busy weekend.
It's one of those big weekends for the Big Blue Nation, as both the UK football and basketball teams will be in action.
It begins Saturday when Mark Stoops and the football Wildcats head to Missouri for a conference matchup. The Cats are going for their 3rd straight win, and the Tigers are trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. The kickoff is scheduled for noon. It will be airing on the SEC network.
And then on Sunday, the long wait is over as the basketball Wildcats will play their first exhibition game of the season, taking on John Calipari's alma mater, Clarion, in Rupp Arena. That's at 7 o'clock. If you can't make it to the game, you can see it on the SEC network.
And coming up on WKYT News, a new medical step that men can take to help prevent women from getting pregnant.
And research indicates some commonly prescribed medications might not be helping as much as we think.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Anywhere you want to see across the state of Kentucky in our viewing area, we got you covered. All our sky cams across the region, north, south, east, or west, shows plenty of sunshine. We had a little fog this morning in a couple of spots, but now we're good to go. So it looks pretty good. Jackson and Breathitt County, no problems. You work your way over toward Moorhead, just north of Jackson, and we're looking good. Frankfort coming in, sitting there in the upper 50s, lower 60s at this moment. 58 degrees officially there in Frankfort at this very instant. Now we get into your afternoon, we'll actually be in the mid-60s. So it's actually not a bad feeling day. 67 degrees, that's nice for fall. I mean, it's just slightly above average, so we'll be good to go heading off into the evening. If you're heading out to eat or heading out to some of these ball fields, football games, you'll be just fine. It's going to be rather cool, but you'll be fine. Let's talk about the Thriller Parade tomorrow. Awesome weather. There are a lot of festivities going through the day. Once again, I'll be the MC down at Heritage Hall. We're going to have the Walk for Down Syndrome, so we'll be out there with 2,000 to 3,000 people. We'd love to see you out there. Then you got Newsboys coming in town. They're going to be at Rupp Arena. Then as we go off into the evening, 8 p.m. starts the parade. The parade's 71 degrees to kick off. Thriller actually comes in at 8:30 rather. And so, I mean, you're talking about really extreme nice conditions. I mean, these are really, really nice for this time of year, about 10 to 15 degrees above average. So check out this. These are little Halloween treats I got for you guys. Forecast highs near Halloween, right on Halloween at 80 degrees, roughly, okay? Give or take both ways. So this is a really warm Halloween coming up. The record high is 82 degrees. That was back in 1950. 66-year-old record. And to put it in perspective, Godzilla wasn't even in theaters at that moment. 1954 is when Godzilla came out. It was scary at that time. Still scary today for some, but nonetheless, I mean, it's been a long time since we felt air like this. Coming on Monday is 70 degrees is the highest Halloween temperature we've seen in the past 5 years. So we really haven't felt this type of warmth that's heading our direction. So we go off into Sunday into Monday, like I was talking about, we'll bring in those 70s easy. I mean, everybody, we're very confident we'll be there in the 70s and maybe even an 80-degree reading. It'll be fun to watch. Nonetheless, no rain expected the next several days until we hit Thursday. That's when a front rolls through, guys, and that will bring us our temperatures back down. But when you're roughly 80 degrees this time of year and you're dropping at 10 to 15 degrees, it's actually back toward average. I mean, we are way up there with those temperatures the next few days.
It's very odd, but we're living right, I think.
I believe
For
so.
now, you know, because it'll change eventually.
Enjoy what we get.
The exact location of a patient's colon cancer can make a big difference, and a new study also tests birth control hormones for men.
Danielle Nottingham has details in this Better Living report.
A new study shows men can take birth control shots to prevent their partner from getting pregnant. The World Health Organization found the hormone therapy it tested was 95% effective, but had significant side effects, including depression and muscle pain. Still, more than 75% of participants were open to using this method of contraception. New colon cancer research suggests where the patient's tumor is located may help predict survival. Researchers in Italy found patients whose primary tumor was on the left side had a 20% reduced risk of death. And commonly prescribed medicines are no more effective than placebos in treating migraines among children and adolescents. Researchers at Cincinnati's Children's Hospital found more than 50% of study participants reported reduced headache days whether they received medication or sugar pills. Researchers suggest the expectation of feeling better may play a critical role in whether the patient ultimately feels better. That's some of the day's top health stories. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And coming up, stories from Kentucky's Vietnam veterans in their own words.
We're talking with Heather French Henry about a new film honoring those heroes. Next on WKYT.
Right.
Welcome back, and it's good to have you here on WKYT. It's a rare opportunity to hear from Kentucky Vietnam veterans in their own words. A film narrated by Nick Clooney premieres at the Kentucky Aviation Museum next week.
We're happy to be joined by Heather French Henry, Deputy Commissioner at the Kentucky Department of Veterans Affairs, to learn more about it. Welcome. Always good to have you in here.
Oh, good afternoon. I'm delighted to be back in town, absolutely, for a wonderful cause.
Well, it sounds like it.
Really.
What a special project. Tell us about it.
Well, KET, which does a superb job always in their documentaries with Tom Bickle, they went out and interviewed hundreds of Vietnam veterans throughout the state of Kentucky to get really their first-person perspective about what it was like to serve during the Vietnam War era, what it was like coming home. My dad has actually done one of the interviews as well, and it's one thing for, like me, a daughter of a veteran, to talk about my father's issues, but it's another to hear first-person what it was like. And so I'm really anxious to see what all of these interviews are going to be like in this one documentary, and we've got a wonderful opportunity for veterans to preview this actually before it airs on November 10th.
Oh, and what a great gathering that will be.
It will be.
That's really nice.
It's going to be a nice red carpet moment for them.
But I know how much you care about this, but how did you get involved in this project?
Well, Tom, of course, is married to one of my dear Miss Kentucky sisters, and so we have a wonderful connection, and he's long been involved in creating wonderful documentaries for our veterans throughout the Commonwealth, and we helped to assist him in meeting up with veterans. I wanted to make sure that we had well-rounded perspective, that we had men and women Vietnam veterans. We actually have Marge Graves, who was a nurse in Vietnam. She's a Kentuckian. She's spoken at many of our venues, and I wanted to make sure that they had as many Vietnam veterans who wanted to come forward as possible, because we're looking at 50 years now that we're still commemorating the Vietnam War. We're still trying to backtrack and do things we didn't do for them when they came home, but we have more Vietnam veterans now that are willing to share their story.
Do you think this was therapeutic for some of these veterans to be able to have this opportunity to finally speak?
From some of the veterans that I've talked to, they certainly do think it's therapeutic. And really, studies have shown that when you talk about your issues, certainly not only bodes well for you, but for the others who hear it as well. So certainly there were many emotional moments, as I understand. And we anticipate at these screenings that we're going to have that it may be, maybe a night of emotion as well.
For your family as well.
Oh, certainly, absolutely. My father will be attending along with myself on the November 3rd screening that will be right here in Lexington.
Okay, and so that one again is coming up very soon, and it will be on November 3rd at the Aviation Museum of Kentucky at 6:30. There'll be a little reception, and then the premiere at 7 o'clock. And need you to RSVP to KET.org if you want to go.
That's right. We do have limited seats, and KTVA is just so proud to partner with KET to make this happen. So come on out. It's going to be a wonderful night.
Wonderful.
Always good to see you.
Oh,
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Coming next, holiday gatherings are just around the corner.
How to put your best face forward. A house call from Dr. Barb next.
And welcome back. It is WKYT's Afternoon Hour, continuing with our news. It is not too early to start thinking about, getting ready for those holiday events, glowing skin and so forth, so you look good for those parties and whatnot, right?
Dr. Joseph Park with Dermatology Consultants, along with Rachel Hamilton, licensed esthetician, are here with some options for us. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks, Barbara. There are two really incredible developments now, and it happens almost every week we get something new. The Allergan company has come out with what we call Volbella, which is it's the first injectable filler that's for fine lines over the lips and around the mouth, and it can be used for increasing the volume slightly. And it is just amazing. The amazing thing about it is that when you look at this material, it's a very soft gel. It almost looks like a lotion. And then it almost disappears in your hands. But injected, it takes on its own volume and stays there for up to 2 years.
Up to 2 years. Who would be a candidate for that?
Anyone with the aging look of small lines on the mouth area, around the mouth. And this is a picture of before and after, and it's the first thing we've had for fine lines.
Looks like it makes a big difference, right?
It is.
All right, and you're going to tell us about hydrofacials, is that right?
Yes, it's something new that we have brought on to Skin Secrets, and it's almost a hybrid of a traditional facial and a traditional microdermabrasion. So we use it for exfoliation, but as we're doing the exfoliating, it infuses different serums, peptides, antioxidants, chemical peels, things like that into the skin. So there's no downtime with this. The skin looks gorgeous. We can treat any skin type, from acne patients to anti-aging patients, and there's lots of different modalities that we can use on this particular equipment to really customize this facial for patients, and we have absolutely loved it. I mean, the skin just looks gorgeous.
Well, if people want to learn more about this and much more, I can't believe it's already here, but your open house, the holiday open house, is coming up?
Yes, it certainly is.
Next Thursday, November the 3rd.
And what happens on that day?
Everything. We do 20% off is our biggest celebration and deal of the year. So everything is 20% off. Products, services, gift cards. All of our reps are there. We feed you. We get to socialize. We do consultations.
New office, bigger office.
Beautiful. Yeah. So come out and see us. It's great.
A chance to talk with all of you. That's even better.
Learn about this new word, Volbella.
Volbella.
Thanks for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
I want to check in with Micah before we go. It is a wonderful afternoon out there. What a weekend we have coming.
Yeah, it's going to get much, much better. And I know outside, we've had a few people come in and just say how nice it is outside at this moment. It gets better this afternoon, and we're talking about 10 to about 12, 13 degrees higher this weekend and into next week. So we have a big swarm of temperatures, that just warm air just sliding on in here. We're looking at 78 tomorrow, so any events going on tomorrow, remember UK is actually out of town tomorrow, but there will still be a lot going on as you head down toward downtown. And then we head towards Sunday off into Monday, guys, sitting there roughly 80 degrees.
What about that?
That's incredible. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us for WKYT News at noon. A reminder, our next newscast is at 4.
Have a great weekend.